President's Day. Yeah, if you can lower that, Jason. 800-941-SEAN is our number. You want to be a part of the program. It's extra time. It is Croatia and England now playing. 1-1, semifinals, World Cup. And being in London, it is all that anybody here cares about today. But with that said, we did have the president take on the leadership of NATO and saying that America is not going to be the piggy bank for NATO and that other countries need to pay their fair share. And the president rightly pointing out that, with Germany, America's paying the bulk of NATO payments, and Germany's been behind a lot over the years, and now they're turning over 70% of their energy needs to Russia and Vladimir Putin, and meanwhile we're paying all this money for defense. And of course we got the issue of Judge Kavanaugh and the left's attacks on him, which have been unrelenting since the second that Donald Trump announced it, and Lisa Page defying that congressional subpoena, all happening today. While we're in London, he's holding down the fort in Washington, D.C. He's the author of this New York Times bestseller. You want to know about Donald Trump's success and also the challenges he faces now moving forward? Well, it's called Trump's America, the truth about our nation's great comeback. Newt Gingrich, another New York Times bestseller. How are you?
I'm doing great. I don't know if you've mentioned it, by the way, but the London Times today has an ad signed by 9 senior British generals and admirals, all of them saying that Trump is right about defense and outlining a series of 8 major changes the British should make in order to be more effective. I mean, it is the most completely pro-Trump thing I think I've seen in Europe since he got elected. And here are, 8, these are senior British officers in a way that's really quite remarkable.
The president's warning to Germany, and with all the talk about, Vladimir Putin must have something on Donald Trump. After, all the fake news that he's beholden in some way to Vladimir Putin, if in fact Angela Merkel were to listen to Donald Trump and the billions of dollars of deals that they made with Russia and Vladimir, and again, we're spending all this money in large part to protect against Russia for Western Europe and our allies in Western Europe, that would end up crippling Russia's entire economy, which means that the biggest loser, if Germany listens, would be Vladimir Putin. And about Putin, I'm thinking we can't. This is a real clear present danger to their economy.
Well, and I think he's pointing out the hypocrisy of the German position, which is they would like to lecture us while doing everything they can to make themselves richer. But they're not about to take any risk with Iran because they want to sell things to Iran. They're not going to take any real risk with Russia because they're relying on the Russian ability to provide them with natural gas. And I think that President Trump is exactly right to stand up to Chancellor Merkel and point out the hypocrisy behind her pious statements.
Do you agree with me that the parallels to Reagan, for example, we're expecting protests here in London as the week unfolds, and maybe even after this match tonight, in the sense that people would be angry if Great Britain lost, if England lost. But I watch everything that's happening, and it reminds me, it's very reminiscent of Reagan, the evil empire, tear down this wall, the predictions that Reagan would start a nuclear holocaust, Donald Trump, fire and fury, little rocket man, my button's bigger than your button and mine works, and now telling NATO that they've got to start all of the alliance nations, and even the Secretary General of NATO agreeing with President Trump that these nations need to step up and that it can't be on the United States, and warning Germany of their dependence on energy with Putin. It seems to me that the parallels are uncanny.
Well, Craig Shirley is the most authoritative biographer of Reagan. And I asked Craig exactly this, and he came back and said that that's exactly right, that the hostility in 1981-82 to Reagan in Europe, funded in part by the Soviet Union, which was the primary funder of the various peace groups, that hostility was probably greater than the hostility to Trump today. And I think it's easy to look back and forget that. But Reagan had to have courage and had to persevere despite what was happening and despite the efforts on the other side. And I think that there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah. Why is it Europe had a love affair with Obama, who went on an American apology tour, and the same Obama that tried, to bribe Iran, of which some of these nations were a part of, and literally bribe their way to peace?
Because he represented them. I had a good friend who wrote me and said, maybe the reason that big crowd in Berlin greeted Obama so happily is they figured out he was more for them than he was for the United States. The Europeans were desperate for the Iranian deal because they want to sell goodies to Iran. This is not complicated. And the Europeans like to sound pious while filling up their wallets. But I think we need to understand that there's a huge gap. The Germans are the worst, but frankly, there's a whole problem with the European Union and the folks who sit there in Brussels and run the bureaucracy. And you're seeing it start to be really under pressure from Poland, from Hungary, from Slovenia, from Italy. There's people just fed up with the way they've been exploited largely on behalf of Germany.
One of the things, I think this is one great opportunity for the American economy and the American worker. I remember you started a campaign right here on this radio program. Drill here, drill now, pay less. We have more natural gas that would satisfy our energy needs for hundreds of years, but also we could export that gas to our Western European allies, which is a far less a threat to them than Vladimir Putin getting angry one day and turning off the spigot to 70% of Germany's energy needs in their economy, the lifeblood of their economy.
Of course, that's where Trump once again is showing that he's very clever, because what he's posed to Merkel is quit buying Russian gas and buy American liquefied natural gas, which would be a double win for us. It would weaken Putin and strengthen our economy. I think there may be enough pressure now, and it'll be very interesting to see Trump with Putin in Helsinki, because the whole question here of how this evolves, I think, is very real. And I think that Trump is feeling his way forward. And I think he thinks that the last administration so badly mishandled what we're doing in the world that every single day he's sort of breaking the old rules and trying to find ways to better represent the United States. And as I said, when you have a whole group of senior British generals and admirals take out a full-page ad in the London Times to say Donald Trump is right, something really profound is starting to happen.
I think you're right, and I agree 100%. It's just going to be interesting to watch this unfold, but the latest media freakout is, oh my gosh, Donald Trump said NATO needs to pay their fair share. And it's really stupid that if we're paying all this money in defense to do deals with Vladimir Putin so he controls 70% of your energy. And oh, by the way, America has energy resources too that we'd love to export to our friends and our allies in Europe, and that would be extraordinarily helpful. It'll be good for their national security. It's win, 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 win. But you see the freak out. You see the panic among the left. It's almost like they're programmed enough. Yeah.
Well, they're not programmed. Look, they had a vision of how the world was going to work. They were going to sell out to the bad guys. They were going to cut nice little deals. Everybody was going to be happy. They were going to lie about what was going on. I always said that John Kerry, as Secretary of State, would go to any 4-star hotel in the world to eat at any 5-star restaurant and think of it as negotiating.
I always think of the Grey Poupon commercial with him.
That's exactly right. And so now you have an administration where the Secretary of State graduated first in his class at West Point. So you can imagine the difference in tone. And that's by the way, why the North Korean press went after Secretary Pompeo